Most people think the medieval world ended centuries ago, that the families who ran it faded into history, along with the castles and the kings. They didn't fade, they adapted. The surnames that controlled medieval Europe, the land, the money, the law, the church, the military, are still concentrated in the institutions that control the modern world. You just stopped noticing them because they stopped wearing armor. Let me start with the most documented example of medieval financial power becoming modern financial power. The Rothschild family takes its name from the red shield, Roter Schild in German, that hung outside the family's house in the Jewish ghetto of Frankfurt in the 16th century. Meyer Amschel Rothschild was born in that ghetto in 1744. He built a money-lending business and then replicated it across 5 European cities simultaneously. He sent 5 sons to 5 cities: Frankfurt, London, Paris, Vienna, Naples. Each son established a Rothschild banking house. Each house operated independently. Each also operated as part of a coordinated network that could move money and information across borders faster than any government could respond. During the Napoleonic Wars, the Rothschild network financed the British war effort against Napoleon. They moved gold across blockaded Europe using couriers no government could interrupt. By 1815, the Rothschild family had become the wealthiest private family in the world. The medieval model they were operating was not new. Jewish money-lending families had been providing financial services to Christian monarchs since the 11th century because canonical law forbade Christians from charging interest, creating a financial services monopoly that Jewish families filled by necessity and maintained by expertise. The Rothschilds did not invent this model. They perfected it, and they scaled it at the precise moment when European economies were expanding fast enough to reward that scale. But financial power is one thing. The surname coming next built something more durable than money. They built the legal system the modern world still runs on. 2 surnames most people know separately, but almost nobody connects to the medieval royal bloodline they both descend from. The Percy family, Dukes of Northumberland, have controlled land in northern England since the Norman conquest of 1066. 960 years of continuous aristocratic presence in the same geographic region. The current Duke of Northumberland sits in the same territory William the Conqueror handed to his ancestor as a reward for fighting at Hastings. The Howard family, Dukes of Norfolk, are the hereditary Earl Marshals of England. The Earl Marshal organizes every state ceremonial occasion in Britain, every coronation, every state funeral, every major national ceremony not appointed. It is inherited. The Howard family has held it since 1672. Thomas Howard, the 3rd Duke of Norfolk, was the uncle of 2 of Henry VIII's wives. Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard were both Howards. The family positioned its daughters into the royal bed deliberately as a political strategy. It worked until it didn't. Catherine Howard was executed on Tower Green in 1542. The Howards survived that. They survived the English Reformation, the Civil War, every political upheaval that destroyed other aristocratic families across 5 centuries, and they are still the hereditary organizers of British state ceremony today. If you watch a British royal coronation or state funeral, you are watching an event organized by a family whose name traces directly to the Norman conquest. The surname coming next is even harder to see because it deliberately stays that way. The Cecil family has operated at the center of British political power for over 450 years, with a consistency that makes every other political dynasty on this list look temporary. William Cecil, Lord Burghley, was chief advisor to Queen Elizabeth for 40 years. He ran the English state, controlled intelligence, managed foreign policy, made the decisions that kept Elizabeth on the throne through 40 years of Catholic conspiracies and Spanish threats. When William Cecil died in 1598, his son Robert took over. Robert Cecil secretly negotiated the transition of power from Elizabeth to James VI of Scotland, arranging the union of the English and Scottish crowns while Elizabeth was dying so smoothly there was no succession crisis. The Cecils continued at the center of British political life through the next 3 centuries. Robert Gascoigne Cecil, the 3rd Marquess of Salisbury, served as British Prime Minister 3 times between 1885 and 1902. He ran British foreign policy at the height of the British Empire. From Hatfield House, the same Cecil family estate William Cecil built in the 16th century. William Cecil's specific genius was to make himself indispensable without making himself visible, to run things from behind the person everyone else was looking at. 4.5 centuries of that approach. Still running, the surname coming next did not come from money or politics or land. It came from something far older and far harder to challenge. Let me tell you about a family that built a banking empire, produced 4 popes, produced 2 queens of France, and funded the Italian Renaissance, all from a single city in the 14th century. The Medici name comes from the Italian word for doctor. By the time the name mattered in Florence, the Medicis were not healing people. They were funding them. Cosimo de' Medici built the Medici Bank into the most powerful financial institution in 15th century Europe. The bank managed the papal finances, the accounts of the Catholic Church itself. When you control the Church's money, you control something more powerful than any army. The Medici family used that financial power to fund artists and thinkers on a scale never attempted before. Botticelli, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, the Italian Renaissance, the cultural explosion that dragged Europe out of the medieval period was substantially funded by a banking family from Florence. 4 Medici popes, Catherine de' Medici governed France for decades. Marie de' Medici followed a generation later. The Medici Bank collapsed in 1494. But the institutions it created, the modern banking system, the letter of credit, international finance, did not collapse. They became the foundation of the global financial system every bank in the world is built upon today. If you have a bank account or a credit card, you are using financial instruments whose basic structure was invented by a medieval family whose name meant doctor. The surname coming last is the one nobody ever discusses, because for 5 centuries they have been specifically trying not to be discussed. The House of Bourbon has been one of the most continuously powerful royal dynasties in European history since the 16th century. And unlike most medieval dynasties, it has never fully left power. The Bourbon name comes from the town of Bourbon-l'Archambault in central France, a small place that gave its name to a family that would eventually rule France, Spain, Naples, Sicily, Parma, and Luxembourg. The Bourbon dynasty produced Henry IV of France, the king who ended the French Wars of Religion. Assassinated in 1610, his descendants ruled France until the Revolution sent Louis XVI to the guillotine in 1793. But the Bourbons came back. After Napoleon's defeat in 1815, the Bourbon dynasty was restored to the French throne. Removed in 1830, restored, removed permanently in 1848. In Spain, the Bourbon dynasty is still reigning. King Felipe VI, the current Spanish monarch, is a Bourbon. His full surname connects him directly to the same medieval French noble family from 800 years ago. A medieval French noble family is still sitting on a European throne. Today, in the 21st century, And their connections, through marriage, through diplomacy, through the networks royal families maintain, mean a name from 13th century France is still threading through the power structures of the modern European world right now. Medieval surnames did not retire when the medieval period ended. They adapted, moved from castles to boardrooms, from thrones to committees, from open military power to the quieter, more durable power of institutions and accumulated advantage. The families on this list are still there, operating in the spaces most people never look at, wearing suits instead of armor, but running the same game. Subscribe. See ya.